Hello and welcome. My name is Lucas Lechuga, and I'm your host of Miami Real Estate TV. Today I'm at the Ryder Sales Gallery here in Wynwood, Miami, and in a bit I'm going to be meeting up with the developer himself, Diego Ojeda of Cypress Development, who's going to be sharing his vision for the project and what makes this such a unique project that you won't find anywhere else in Miami. So let's head inside and meet up with him. Well, thank you, Diego, for being on the show. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you, Lucas. Couldn't be happier. Thank you.
And I've heard about you for probably the past couple of years, but it just recently that I actually got a chance to meet you because you did have a VIP dinner, and fortunately, I was one of the people that was invited. So thank you very much for having me. I took out a lot from that discussion because one of the things that you did, which I really appreciated, is that you had each of the brokers stand up and kind of share ideas of what we're doing to bring in business. And, so I took a lot away from that dinner night. So thank you for
thank you for coming.
Together.
The other way around. For us, it was our pleasure, and thank you for joining us.
I really consider you to be like a forward-thinking developer, and that's what I really appreciate. And I think there's this younger generation of developers that's coming in right now that is forward-thinking and creative, and it's great to see that because you really we need that because the generations are evolving, the buyers are evolving.
Yeah.
We were talking about that off camera.
You guys stay with the times.
Exactly. Especially nowadays. I mean, things are changing so rapidly with AI. It's really great to have you on the show because I really like how your mind works, especially with how the creative side that you have. And we're gonna go into that with about the Ryder. But before we get into the Ryder, I want to discuss your background and how you got into development and all that.
Well, it's funny because it's completely the opposite of what one would have thought. My background is film. I studied film and television, and when I graduated college, I went to work at MTV, and then I went to work. MTV was here in Miami, and then I went to work at Universal Studios
on Lincoln Road, right?
On Lincoln Road, at 1111 Lincoln, which was awesome. And we were doing the VMAs, the backgrounds, everything, videos, commercials, everything. It was great. And then from there, I get hired to go work in Universal Studios.
What year was that with the VMAs?
2004.
Okay, so I was gonna say, because I moved here in 2004.
Yeah.
And I remember, if I'm not mistaken, I think we had the VMAs 1 year.
Yeah.
And there was really bad weather, so they were like, no, we're not gonna do this again.
Yeah.
But
This was the Latin VMAs.
Okay.
But it was awesome because we had Beastie Boys, we had Lenny Kravitz.
Oh, nice.
Aside of a bunch of Latin artists, so it was awesome. And back then, I remember doing a show. It was like a behind the scenes, one of those behind the scenes. I forget the name, but what was cool is I had backdoor access to everything. I was in the VMAs, going into everyone's kind of green room and interviewing with all these big artists. So it was fun. From there, I get hired to go work at Universal Studios in LA. Okay. So I was on the lot in Burbank, the little golf cart, the classic Universal, and there I was directing commercials, and we relaunched a channel that NBC Universal had picked up. And being there, so I, my background was directing, editing, producing. That's what I loved. Storytelling. That's kind of why I got into that business. I leave the company to go shoot a film, a feature film in Peru, a young indie movie called Máncora, which is the name of a beach town in the north of Peru. And very cool. We had one of the lead actors from City of God.
Brazilian I love that movie. Great movie, low budget movie, but one of the best. I love it.
Exactly, Felipe Hagensen. I went to Rio de Janeiro to bring him because he didn't have a passport. It was a crazy story. Elsa Pataki, big actress in Spain. So it was wonderful. And then we got into Sundance. This was 2007. We premiered at Sundance 2008. This shows you how old the movie is. We did a deal with Blockbuster. So we were in every Blockbuster in the country. And then we sold it to HBO Latin America. Yeah, so that was my background. I didn't love living in LA. It was a really fun city. I just didn't see myself there long term. From Miami, from Spain originally. So LA was a little bit far from everything that my roots. So I wanted to make myself way back to Miami. And in coming to Miami, my father had been developing for years, and I already had a well-established company here. And Rilea Group, exactly, which he opened up in 1981. And I
didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah, 44 years. Yeah.
So I didn't become familiar with Rilea until probably around 2010, 2011 when the bond on Brickell launched.
Yeah. So the bond was our fifth tower. on Brickell. Yeah, we've always kind of been under the
And
radar.
what was previous to that?
So the first two towers was the JW Marriott and the Sabadell Financial Center.
Okay.
The Sabadell Financial Center
Recently sold, what was it, like 283 or something like that?
and Tamancio Ortega, owner of Zara and Inditex. So since we're Spaniards,
Quickly becoming one of the largest real estate holders and investors in Miami. It's crazy how much he's spending.
So we're very proud that there's such an important Spanish family has purchased that. Then we did One Broadway and 1450 Brickell. 1450 is JP Morgan's headquarters.
Beautiful building.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And both had the highest rents for 13 years around there in their categories. A multifamily project in Miami and an office project in Miami. The 1450 was when I came in. I started working for my father around that time, 2008. So it was right after Sundance, around there.
Got it.
And it was funny because my father told me, if what I had done for the movie as a producer was I had, first found the script, kind of co-wrote it, but found the script, hired a director, found the money, hired the talent, hired a production company, did the movie, and then distribution afterwards, right? He mentioned to me, listen, as a developer, it's very similar. I find a piece of property, which is the script, let's say. I find an architect, that's my director. I hire a construction company, that's the production company. I have to find the funding, all the logistics, budgets, etc. It's very similar, if the idea is to create. And then since I had my film background and all that, brought in all the storytelling. So later when we go into the writer, you'll see kind of where all that storytelling comes from. And all the design aspect, from graphic design to interior design, it came to me from my previous life.
Yeah, because it's amazing how parents have that amazing perspective sometimes where they're able to look at your scenario and say, you know what, you would actually be perfect for this.
Exactly. Because my father, he had never said, come work for me when I was a kid early on. He knew I liked what I was studying, and he said, no, go for it as long as you do well, and was totally supportive. When he knew I wanted to come back to Miami, he said, hey, if you look at it this way, just try it out. If you don't like it, then you try something else. But I ended up loving it.
So you launched sales for the bond in around 2012?
Yes, exactly. We hired Cervera. We had worked with Cervera back in the 80s on a project in Coral Gables called the Gables.
Back then, they were probably one of the only big brokerages in town. They were like the only brokerage back then.
Yeah, it's funny because we've only worked with Cervera, all the condo projects that we've done, and we know the family really well, and there's a great connection, and we trust them, and they've always done really well. So the bond was 2014. That was the first time I really started kind of taking on, branding for the project, hiring interior designer, and really leading the sales and the execution of my first project, let's say. I had already been working for my father. We had already built 3 other buildings before that, but in those 3 other buildings, I was more in the learning phase.
So for my audience out there that isn't familiar with the bond, so the bond is British-inspired.
Yeah. The bond was so Polly Hankin, which was our director of sales. She's here with Cervera. She came up with the name, the bond. And based on Bond Street, London, which is the high fashion street, James Bond, whatever you want, right? So then we we hired an interior designer, and we're now on our 4th project with them, Ramon Alonso from Radica. And he went to London to really get inspired, and we said, let's do a really high fashion. If James Bond lived in Miami, where would he live? Something like that. So Ramon introduced us to a very famous photographer called Terry O'Neill, that had become famous in the 60s and 70s, photographing the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, etc. All of the top models. He was married to Faye Dunaway, and he was just big time, one of these larger than life people. And we told him, listen, we would love to buy 30 of your big prints, signed museum quality, and put them throughout the building in all of our common areas, amenities, and let it be a museum for only your photography. There won't be any other photographer there. It's only Terry O'Neill. And he loved it.
By any chance, was that the same photographer that did the Beatles with Muhammad Ali? Or was that a different one?
I don't
it's
think
a very famous photo.
Yeah. I have it here. I have it right there. I don't think that's Terry O'Neill. But we're going to check just to make sure. But I had that photo was taken here in Miami.
Yes.
Yeah.
At, South of Fifth. Not South of Fifth. There was a gym.
Yeah.
Like Fifth.
I don't
can't remember
think
the name
so.
of the gym.
I don't think that was Terry O'Neill, but we'll look at it now.
Okay. Yes.
But yeah,
it was in South Beach.
Yeah. So that was the first time that, and we worked with a really cool gallery called Iconic Images, and creating the nostalgic feeling of, because you walk into the Bond and you have Elton John, you have Mick Jagger, Ursula Andress. It's just awesome, and then you got to get this nostalgia. Oh, I love the feeling. It's not just abstract art on the wall. That's why I love photography, because it just becomes more real. And a lot of what we learned there, we brought into the ride.
It's nostalgic. I mean, the buyers are like, wow. I love those times.
Yeah. So
the same with the writers.
Exactly. And you want to be living in that era, and the building kind of allows you to do that.
And that's a feeling I get when I walk into the sales gallery. Every single time, I'm like, wow, this place is so cool.
No, this place is
the
rock and roll.
motorcycles and the 70s
100%.
rock and roll. It's a very
this
cool
place is rock and roll. You know, when we bought this site, the site abuts the train tracks. And it's 85 yards away from the future train station that's coming here, the train stop. It's still not known whether it's going to be Brightline or Tri-Rail or another brand. But you know, Brightline right now has Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, Orlando. Once that was completed, they opened up the inner stops. They opened up Aventura and Boca Raton. Those are done. The next one already approved, it's official, is the one right here on 27th Street. And that is going to be a huge game changer for the area, because there's tons of people that work in Miami but live in Fort Lauderdale, and the other way around, or West Palm. You just jump on the train. You know, we're from Spain, and Spain has the best trains in Europe. So we're really used to relying on the train, and I really wanted to embrace it. So first, the name The Rider comes from, at first it started, you know, ride the train. But then I thought, okay, now I got to make it cool and really give soul to this project. And when I was a kid growing up, I had a poster of Easy Rider, the movie, on my wall. The Peter Fonda, Jack Nicholson, and Dennis Hopper movie. And it was all about, I think it was 1969, freedom, rock and roll, end of the 60s. It was just Harley Davidsons, California, etc. So I got inspired by that, and this project, right when you walk in, there's motorcycles, it's rock and roll everywhere. You see in the photography, and we really wanted to have a lot of fun with that. It's Miami, so we wanted to bring a lot of high fashion. So there's lots of sculptures and pieces throughout the sales center that will be in the building, and the building will have a lot more that just signifies that high fashion. You know, I was in Dubai last February, and I kind of went on a buying spree of a bunch of cool things that are all here in the sales center. And yeah, you know, we brought the same interior designer from the Bond, just because they really nailed it on that project. And this time, we went to a really cool store here in Wynwood called Walt Grace. And I said, I want you to get inspired. You know, this store is like the perfect quintessential store in Wynwood. It just kind of represents what I'm trying to say here in this project. And yeah.
And I wanted to bring it back to the Bond, because the Bond, somebody mentioned at that VIP broker dinner that it's it's a rare building where the renderings, actually the reality, like when the building was delivered, the building actually looked better. The common area spaces look better than the rendering. Usually it's the opposite. Usually the renderings are like, wow, the renderings look amazing. And then the day of delivery, you do the walkthrough, you're like, wait, this doesn't look the same. But it's one of the few buildings where you really outdid
and thank you. And we get that a lot, and we're very proud of that. That the reality is always nicer than the renderings, because usually, like you say, it's the other way around. People use a really cool rendering to hook you, and then, you know, skimp out on the finishes and things like that. We always know that we're happy to leave money on the table to make a better project. And I think if you view the way you work long term, and you view it that way, long term, it always pays off.
That's the key word, long term. I mean, you're in this for the long run.
Long run.
You know, you're not one of these developers that are just like, okay, I'm going to do one or two developments and I'm out. You know,
No.
You're in this for the long road, so your reputation's on the line for it.
Yeah, this is a family business, you know. So reputation is what matters the most. The company name, your last name. You know, I'm born and raised here, lived in Spain a few years, but I consider myself a total Miamian, and reputation is what matters most. And when you hear, hey, a new building is coming out and it's an Hugo Colombo building, all of a sudden you know that's quality.
Yes.
You know it's going to be top notch. Hugo delivers the best. We strive for that same kind of category. My father has always, I think, done top-notch projects. 1450 JP Morgan's headquarters, it was the big proof of it. Strongest glass curtain wall in the nation. That building won a bunch of awards. I think today is still the #1 office project in Miami. And it was because he really went above and beyond. And I learned a lot from that. And I like to put that in my projects. I like to, we're still creating things and adding things to the building.
Yeah, we discussed that a little while ago, which we'll cover that in a bit.
Yeah, and we're still adding things that aren't in the brochures. Our buyers don't know about them. And many people would say, I don't have to because, I didn't say I was going to. This is just, I'm giving it away, and I see it the complete opposite. Yeah. You're going to surprise them, and they're going to love it, and then it's word of mouth, and on the next project, they're going to talk good about you, and it's just a snowball effect.
So back to Rilea. So you remained with them. You still, to this day, remain with Rilea.
Yeah, 100%. So I'm president of Rilea. I've been there, 17 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then recently, you started Cypress Development.
Cypress, yes. So in June, it's our first year. So a year and a half ago, I opened up Cypress. Cypress is a separate development company where I am doing certain projects outside of Rilea. I'm still running Rilea with my father and my siblings and growing the company. And we're building a massive tower right now for Grupo Santander in Brickell. So we're still very active. But at the same time, that kind of entrepreneur spirit inside of me wanted to create something of my own. And that's where Cypress came. And it's
an opportunity for your creative side to shine.
To just really shine, exactly.
Something different, because I speak with brokers, and I've been sharing stories about the writer in recent weeks, and brokers will DM me and be like, man, that building's so different. I love it. Like everyone's like, they don't have anything bad to say about it, because it's just, it's very unique. You don't see anything like that.
I'm glad. It makes me so happy to hear that. So I'm very happy. And yeah, we have Cypress was born with 2 projects, this one and one in Port St. Lucie, but this is our marquee project here in Miami. And I just, we just signed a construction loan last week.
I was about to say, congratulations.
I'm very happy.
And that was for $90 million?
$90 million. We're blessed. Banco Inbursa, which is out of Mexico. It's owned by Mexican billionaire Carlos Slim, a super strong bank with an amazing track record and reputation, and we were very lucky and fortunate enough that a dear friend of mine, Javi Herrera, introduced us to them, and just this last Tuesday we were with their principals here celebrating. So
nice.
So now we're off to the races.
So what does that mean exactly? Now that you have the construction, construction begins.
It means we're fully funded. It means we're fully funded, and now we have all the tools to build the project. Okay. We have a top-notch general contractor, Beauchamp Construction. Beauchamp, aside of building all over town, they are, I would say, the #1 GC in Wynwood. Okay. So again, they build all over the place. They're building a very large project in downtown at Miami World Center. And Related Group, which is, as always, they're the ones that have done the most. Yep. Beauchamp is their go-to. Okay. So when we were looking at this project here in Wynwood, we got introduced to them. We had been wanting to work for them for a while, and now we're blessed that we are. But yeah, the construction loan means that we're fully funded. We now have a construction schedule with an end date. We know that we're delivering, and it's real.
So what does that schedule look like now? When are you expecting to?
So it's a 22 to 24 month schedule around there, and hopefully everything goes well, which it should, and we have a super strong team, and now we rock and roll.
And the good part, it's not an extremely tall building.
So no, it's 12 stories.
So 24 months seems very reasonable.
We're building a 50-story right now. Okay. So 12 stories. It's podium parking, only 2 levels parking. So it's a fairly, let's say, simple project to build. We're adding a lot of bells and whistles to it because of again the design and the project. So there's brick throughout the building. We have steel. So since Wynwood is kind of like our Brooklyn in Miami, we really wanted to pay an homage to the industrial Chicago, Brooklyn, up the Northeast. So we have a lot of rust, we have a lot of steel and brick throughout the building, and glass balconies, killer amenities, rooftop pool. We have what is going to be an amazing rooftop lounge. And this is being sold, so this is retail for sale.
Yeah, I want to discuss that, definitely.
Yeah. And then we have tons of amenities. We're very wellness focused, so we have a Turkish hammam, which is a really cool steam room. They have one at the Standard Hotel in Miami Beach. We have a large co-ed sauna, and then we have individual infrared saunas. We have, I think...
The cold plunges, too,
We have
right?
6 cold plunges. We have a really cool vinyl room, which is kind of brings you back to the rock and roll, where we have a Brion Vega, which we have here in the sales gallery. It's a record player, but it's an art piece. They only make a few of them a year in Italy. And it's for the vinyl room where you could be the DJ, listen to the DJ, hang out.
Very cool.
We have a really cool dog spa. We have offices for lots of folks that want to work.
And that's something that you just recently...
We just launched that right now. We haven't really announced it yet.
So where is that located again on the
So the
building?
offices are in the back corner, facing south, which is facing Miami. Really, they have windows, so nice light coming in, and we've done that in other projects of ours, and it does really well because lots of people that work from home, but not necessarily want to be in their home. They want to be in the building, but have a little separate office.
And you were explaining off camera that those are essentially deeded to the unit. You need to be an owner in the building to have the opportunity to purchase one of those office spaces.
Yeah, we did that on purpose more than anything because, I want the building to be like a club. It's
Exclusive.
A boutique. It's exclusive. It's a boutique building. It's small. It's we're the smallest one of the competition. I love that because it keeps us boutique. One of the folks that I look up to a lot when I'm crafting these kind of projects is Ian Schrager. Ian Schrager from Studio 54 and The Edition, et cetera, et cetera. He's got the crazy story background, and I learn a lot from that. But they're always boutique. That's how they started, and that's how they were able to keep that essence. Here at the Ryder, it's the same exact thing. So those offices, I thought it best to keep it for the people that live in the building. Yeah. You can sell it to another owner, but they have to be in the building.
That's a great idea. And so just to go over kind of the breakdown of the building. So you have retail at the bottom. And by the way, congrats again, because I recently read that you've been shattering records for commercial.
Yeah.
So this space here, is it this space or this space?
This corner space sold for $1,700 a foot. Wow. That's the highest per square foot sale ever in Wynwood or Midtown. And we haven't tracked other neighborhoods, but I'm sure in other neighborhoods too. Yeah. And then we sold just 2 other ones just next to it, at similar prices, not as high, but similar prices. And what we're doing is we only have one left in the middle, and we're reserving it because
down here you have
on 29th Street. So at 29th Street, we own almost the whole block between the Ryder and Mohawk, which is another project we're coming out with. 29th Street has become one of the most important streets in this neighborhood.
So just for the audience to know, this is 29th Street here. So basically this is east, this is west.
Exactly. You're north. Yeah. And
the train station will go.
And the train is abutting the building, exactly.
So you're literally
on the train,
steps away from the train.
And that's huge because once that stop is open, we're 85 yards away. You can hop on the train, go to Disney World, come back, West Palm, etc.
You were saying earlier that was a big reason for.
That's the reason I bought it in the first place.
This lot.
I'm a big transit person, and before train stations come, many people have a hard time kind of imagining what it's going to be like. Yep. But if you do case studies or if you do, hey, ChatGPT, tell me information on projects.
Locate to certain neighborhoods because the train station's there.
All the stores around it, their income goes up. Since here we have no rental restrictions in the building, and we're selling these apartments furnished. I would say 40 to 50% of our buyers are investors, where they plan on renting the apartment. It's fully furnished, it's turnkey, they can rent it the next day. They can do it themselves, they can hire a company, or they can hire us. We're offering that full white glove service as well. The other half, and there's no restrictions. You can rent it by the day if you want. Okay. So we're not marketing it like an Airbnb building. We're not looking for that because, like I said, I think the majority of our owners want to live here all year. Yep. So we're just giving people the option. If I'm out of town, maybe during our Basel this year, and I can rent it out for a couple weeks and make really good money,
Really good
might as
money.
well. You know what I'm saying?
Or like the Super Bowl every whatever 5 years it comes, and
Exactly. Or if you want to rent it normal. So you have that option. 29th Street, you have Crescent Heights with Forma, Miami, a new rental building which is shattered all multifamily records. We're super happy.
with the Whole Foods at the bottom.
With the Whole Foods at the bottom, that's 2 blocks away on our street. Okay. Then you have Carlos Rosso doing Midtown Park, directly across the street from me. He's bringing the largest paddle tennis pop-up in the country.
And more importantly, tons of retail.
Tons of retail, offices, etc. If you keep going down 29th, you have on my side of the street Lennar, which is single family home builder. They're now doing high-rise multifamily, so they have a really cool project. In front of them, still on 29th, a really new cool project called Wynwood Plaza just opened up. Amazon's Miami HQ is going to be located there.
How many square feet again?
They started with 50,000 and quickly increased to 75,000.
75,000.
And that's offices. That's not warehouse.
So that's high-paying jobs.
High-paying jobs. Remember that Jeff Bezos went to high school here before he moved out west.
And he's now a resident of South Florida.
Exactly. He's now a resident of South Florida. His folks are living here, and his family office was, I believe, moved to Miami. So if you keep going down on 29th, then you have, I believe, Kushner has a project. PMG is now doing their second project. Related Group is also on there, on Northwest 2nd. So you have a bunch of really great developers, all colleagues of mine. We're probably the smallest one by far, and it's always great to be surrounded by great neighbors. 29th is what divides Midtown from Wynwood. So the building sits in Wynwood. You would be in what Midtown is. So we really have the best of both worlds.
You do. And then Edgewater's here.
Edgewater's right here.
And then Design District is like over here.
Exactly.
So it's
you have a Whole Foods 2 blocks
neighborhoods.
away and Trader Joe's a block and a half away.
Yes.
So no, I couldn't be happier. And 29th is one of the thoroughfares that crosses the train. So it goes all the way to Edgewater.
And then one thing you forgot to mention that I asked you off camera, that I had heard something about Pitbull's childhood home being on 29th.
Yeah. So Pitbull's childhood home, where he was raised, is on 28th, and it abuts our Mohawk project. Okay. So we've become friends, especially with his manager Robert Fernandez, and we're now collaborating together on that project, on that site, and other stuff. They're phenomenal guys. So we're really happy and privileged to be able to.
So going back to the retail, I think one of the key reasons why you're able to hit those $1,700 per square foot prices, which most people are like, wow, that's insane. Who would pay $1,700 per square foot? But it's because Amazon's coming.
Exactly.
It's because of the train. Because you're right, when a train is in your neighborhood, some people think, well, I don't want the noise or whatever, but the reality of it, people move there because of the train, because they want an easy way to commute to work.
100%. The train, you should embrace the train. So don't be scared of it. The sound, it goes away, it fades away.
With today's technology and the quality of the materials.
Exactly. All of our windows are high impact glass. Just for normal Miami building code. Once you've heard of the train go by a couple times, it disappears. The proof is Amley Midtown, which is a Morgan Stanley owned large 700 unit rental building, is on the train, but they have apartments starting at the 2nd floor, balconies. And when you see balconies that low and you think, wow, I guess people they don't care, it doesn't matter because it's all full, that's what also kind of gave me the courage to buy the site. And then the retail, the gentleman that bought this, he owns a fantastic restaurant called Osobuco, which is where we met. Exactly. So this isn't a guy.
Best empanadas in Miami.
Exactly. And he owns one as well in the Grove. So this isn't a family that didn't know Miami and arrived. No, they know it perfectly well. They have businesses here. They're making really good money here, and they thought this is a great strategic location because of everything around it. Yeah. And then we have the crown jewel.
Exactly. I was about to hit on that, and I'm glad you reminded me about that, because that's, I think, the crown jewel of the commercial spaces here. So why don't you share with them exactly what's included up there?
So on the rooftop of the project, we have, on the north side, a rooftop private pool and a little bar for the building. This is private for the residents or the renters of the apartments, right? On the south side, what we have is a really cool deck facing the Miami skyline because you're facing south, and my dream was to do something like Sugar at the East Hotel.
Okay.
A rooftop like that, like a Soho House rooftop, what the Moore's coming out with now, just a cool, loungy rooftop to be above the building. We built 2 dedicated elevators, which whoever buys this buys the 2 elevators. And these are private. This is all going to be like a rust finish. So it's going to be a beautiful rust finish, a lounge. And then this is, we tucked it away on the side of the building.
Because the private entrance essentially for that rooftop.
So this door right here would be the lobby, let's say, for this area. And what we're doing is we're reserving one of the spaces on 29th for this potential buyer. In case whoever buys this says, I'd love also some exposure to 29th Street, which is the main street. Some might say the other way around. I want to be hidden. It's more of a speakeasy. We're on the side. So we did that on purpose. The lobby of the building is on the opposite side. So if all goes well and there's a big line of people congregating to go up to the club, it won't bother anyone of the building. Because the lobby's on the opposite side.
So there is an option, basically, what you're saying is connecting this commercial space to that lobby.
Yes, and then you have 2 private elevators that take you straight
So you
to
could
the
have maybe a small bar here. I don't know if you're familiar with Maple and Nash in Miami World Center. So they just opened up the 8 bar. Actually, no, take that back. Probably by the time this goes live or gets published on YouTube, it may be open, but they're about to open up 8 bar. So what that is basically a bar on the ground floor, and then they have the restaurant on top.
And they have an elevator that connects.
They have an elevator that connects.
We saw a place in Nashville which had that same concept, and we thought it was awesome.
Or even Mila in South Beach. They have the ground floor. You walk in, go up the elevator, and then you're up on.
No, it could be a private club. It could be anything, And then so that's the retail portion, and then all of the other rooftop is amenities. We have some units. So the 2 top floors of the building, the 2 penthouse levels, they're furnished by Restoration Hardware. So we're coming out now. We actually haven't even fully announced it, but you're the first to find out. And we did a really cool partnership. Restoration is an amazing, RH is an amazing brand. They have impeccable taste. And the Bond actually has a lot of RH throughout the common areas. So here we did a partnership for them. And then a really great company out of Mexico called Casel with a K. They're furnishing all the other apartments. And it's really high design.
So is that what's in the renderings?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So those renderings, that furniture,
totally.
It's very 100%. Different than what you see. But it goes so well with the theme of the building.
Yeah, the theme is so in some of the renderings, you'll see the lobby. The lobby has a motorcycle with a sidecar right when you walk in. There's I'm a big fan of bourbon whiskey, of American whiskey. So we have a really big bar. It's more decorative, but it's real. The bottles are all real, of really vintage whiskey. It'll be protected so people aren't messing with it. And we're gonna have a really cool Steve McQueen photo on a motorcycle right in the middle, which you can show the rendering and it kind of gives you the attitude of the project. The rider, since it envisions riding, traveling, etc. The lobby is going to have all of these old vintage Louis Vuitton and Hermes trunks, travel trunks, that you see here in the renderings, and all with fashion photography. There's a photograph that we purchased of a really cool. It's a model, and she's kind of in the middle of the desert, California desert, and sitting on a piece of furniture, a piece of luggage. So I think that will really bring in the rock and roll, the fashion, the Americana from the whiskey, all into one.
Absolutely. Yeah. So earlier you mentioned the amenities, but I don't believe you discussed the motorcycles and the Vespas and all that.
Yeah, so we have what's called the toy box, which is one of our favorites. So, we've all had bucket list. I'm sure lots of us would love to ride a Harley, right? But when are you going to ride a Harley, right? If you don't really own one, or I want to go around town in a Vespa, but when are you going to own a Vespa, right? Yeah. Here, we're going to have a fleet of, let's say, about a dozen motorcycles, different types, from the Ducati street ones to the Harley classic ones, which is more the rider, the Easy Rider, the movie, and then the Vespas. And you will go in and you can rent one. There'll be a typical disclaimer, insurance thing and all that. But you can ride it with your motorcycle. That's amazing. People love that. Love that. We're gonna have bicycle rooms. because biking is also huge these days. Mountain biking in Key Biscayne, where I live, there's Virginia Key, and there's a really cool course there. The dog spa that I mentioned, and then the co-working. The co-working is going to be great because we have a co-working in the lobby, which is really for everyone, and then we have those private offices that we're selling.
Okay, and why don't we discuss the different types of residences that the Rilea offers? Well, so first of all, how many units do you total?
It's 146 apartments, 146. We have studios, 1, 2s, and 3s, all porcelain tile herringbone finish, very similar to what you see here in the sales center. This is wood, but in the units it's going to be porcelain tile, beautiful, selected. Italian appliances, Bertazzoni. Bertazzoni is a company that's been in business for over 100 years. This is their first time they come to Miami. We wanted to really do something different. That's why we selected them. Our kitchens are Italcraft, which are top of the line, Italian kitchens. So appliances and kitchens are Italian. The countertop and all of the porcelain is Spanish. Countertops are Cosentino, which is Decton, one of the best in the world. And then the flooring is Porcelanosa.
And all of the units come fully furnished?
Yeah.
But you're about to announce that they have the option to do...
So the penthouses come with restoration or with RH, the 2 top floors, and the lanai units. So the lanai units are... Here you can't really see it. It's more on the other side.
Though, right?
We have some units that have terraces twice the size of the unit. So these are huge terraces where you could have a little trellis gazebo. You could have a hot tub, put some grass for your pet, but they're big. So for those, since they're in the category, let's say, of the penthouse, just because of that larger, right? We went with RH there as well.
Okay. And you see a lot of photographs, not only in the sales gallery, but in the renderings.
Yeah.
Those come included as well?
So we're going to have photographs throughout the building. Everything that you see here, plus a lot more in the corridors and all the common areas. And then in the units, we're going to include some photography, but then really importantly, we're going to offer a lot of upgrades. Okay. At easy attainable prices. So this isn't a huge profit center for us. This is more to make life easy for the residents and the owners coming in, where they can buy more of these gallery photographs. So we have great partnerships with Iconic Images, with Morrison Hotel Gallery, with Metazone, ADA, and other large photography, museum quality, and we have special pricing, all of that. So we're gonna bring that and offer that to our buyers. If they say, hey, I love that Led Zeppelin photograph that we have in this, how can I purchase another one? Or a bigger one. Okay. So we'll facilitate that.
That's great.
And then a lot more, and wellness throughout in the units as well. So that measure CO2 levels, and I don't want to announce it too much yet. Okay. But we're pushing even more wellness in the building.
Yeah, that's great. Like, I feel like that's I don't know if it's a generational thing or
longevity. People more and more really take care of themselves, and more people are thinking long term. We were talking about earlier, right? And we really want to facilitate that. Yeah, and we were talking off camera about just the needs of today's buyers versus 10, 20 years ago. I feel I don't know if it's social media or what it is, but I feel in today's world, a lot more people are traveling. They're not permanent residents of one city all the time. They're either traveling for pleasure or for work. So they want that flexibility. And Wynwood is the most transited neighborhood in Miami. So I didn't know this until I sat on the Wynwood bid, which is the business improvement district. 15 million people a year. It's the most transited neighborhood in Miami. You go on Northwest 2nd on the weekend, which is the more busy street, and it's popping. It's restaurants, life, etc. And we love that, and we think it's awesome. The reason we think our location is special is because you're only 2 blocks away from being in the heart of the line, let's say, if you want to go party, dine, whatever. But then you kind of come back to a little bit more tranquil place, which is a little bit more Midtown, Edgewater, Design District, a little more chill. And that's why I feel we have the best of, not both worlds, but the best of all 4 worlds. Because it's Edgewater, Midtown, Wynwood, and Design District is a 5-minute drive or 10-minute walk. A really pleasant walk. And that's another neighborhood which is spectacular. We were yesterday at the Moore Private Club. We're we're big fans of doing events there. We had a really great fireside chat with Mayor Suarez there. It was a one-on-one for some really cool Bitcoin news that we had. And we did it at the Moore. And we really wanted to, instead of just doing it here, we thought, let's also show people how close Design District is. And that was a big hit.
Let's speak about Bitcoin now that you brought that up. So your building was the first wallet-to-wallet transaction that occurred here in Miami.
Yeah, so we've become the poster child of crypto and Bitcoin for real estate in Miami or in the whole area, because we're getting calls from New York and LA to learn more about it. Wow. Listen, what we did was we saw a great opportunity. We saw a great opportunity where people wanted to use their crypto to buy real estate. And we're not the first, let's say, we're not, I don't want to say, folks with crypto could buy anywhere. But not with their crypto, but they can change the dollars if they want.
Exactly. That's a big difference.
That's a big difference.
Because basically, in the past, they were actually converting it.
Here they're not converting because here we partnered up with Milo, which is a great lender, a great bank here in Wynwood, where they lend you with your Bitcoin as collateral. And that way you don't have to sell your Bitcoin. Because what we found, even though we did some sales early on where the Bitcoin was sent to us, wallet to wallet, but then I do need to change it to dollars because I'm using that for construction, right? Yep. Other buyers, the more recent ones said, I just don't want to get out of Bitcoin. I really believe in it. I think it's going to keep growing and growing. Is there any way that I can stay in Bitcoin? And then we said, listen, there's a lender that we found and now we have a partnership with. They'll lend you, stay in Bitcoin, you pay an interest, but you stay in Bitcoin. They think, and I'm sure they're right, that Bitcoin is going to keep growing at a faster pace than the interest they're paying for that loan, right? Yep. They don't have a tax event because if they
that's key.
That's key.
That's the big
they
thing.
bought it here, now it's here. If they sell it, they have to pay the capital gains. No longer, right? Because it's a loan. And now, but not only that, it's also they're like, okay, but this project speaks to me. The whole freedom, rock and roll, edgy. There's pictures in here that I'm sure you'll see that push the limits. And we wanted that. We wanted that.
The edginess.
There's edgy. It's rock and roll. I don't get tired of saying it. We have photos of Studio 54. We have photos of Mick Jagger and Jerry Hall. We have photos of David Bowie. We have it's awesome. So people really, they said, if I'm gonna get out of crypto or if I'm gonna use my crypto for real estate, that's the project to do it at. And we've got tons of press. So then the mayor was wonderful enough Mayor Francis Suarez to retweet on X the news of the first wallet-to-wallet, where we were the first project ever to open up a cold storage wallet and say, I will accept your Bitcoin directly to my wallet, and then I will take it to an exchange and we'll exchange it. But from us, it's straight crypto. And he tweeted that. It got tons of press. He put it on the official Instagram account of the mayor's office, which had never been done. And then we did a fireside chat at the Moore. They hosted a wonderful event for us, and it's just been getting more and more and more buzz. And now we've fully embraced it.
Well, and now the evolution is Milo, because you hit upon it a little while ago. The thing about Milo is when you speak with these crypto holders, there's two things that are preventing them from wanting to purchase real estate. Because on paper, they're worth millions, tens of millions sometimes, and hundreds of millions, but they don't want to sell because they don't want that tax event,
right?
And they don't want to miss out on the future appreciation because they believe so much in crypto.
And at the same time, they know real estate from hearing their grandparents talk about it is a classic safe bet. And so they say, this amazing money that I've made, let me put it into real estate as well.
And so with Milo, you get the best of both worlds, where you don't have to sell. Like you're basically essentially handing your crypto, transferring your crypto to Milo in their escrow account. You're still the owner of the crypto. There's no tax event. You still get to enjoy the future appreciation, and you have a home that you get to purchase. Because they give you cash.
It's funny because, and the mayor was saying the same thing, we've become spokesmen for Milo. Whenever we're talking about him, it feels like we work for them. And I love it because it's so smart what they've done and so forward. But not only do they lend you on the collateral of your Bitcoin, for, let's say, pre-construction, where we take buyer deposits. So we take 40%, but we take it in different events, right?
Yeah.
But they say once the apartment's finished,
Yep.
and I can get a first mortgage, then I can lend you on at a much lower rate, because now their risk goes down substantially, because now there's an apartment, there's a piece of real estate, and they have a lien and they have a first mortgage. But we have buyers that are never going to come out of pocket, because they're saying, okay, I send my Bitcoin or my crypto, and there's tons of different types you can send.
Yep.
Milo will lend me the cash to pay Diego the deposits to get in. And then once the apartment is done, even though I still owe money for the deposits, now they'll give me a mortgage on the apartment. So I've never come out of pocket. I've never had to sell my Bitcoin.
Yep.
And they still own the Bitcoin.
It's a game changer.
It's
it
amazing.
really is. I spoke with Colin recently, the senior manager of loan origination over there, and he made a really good point. He said, these crypto guys, some of them are worth tens of millions, but they can't get a loan because they don't have the income to support it.
Right.
With the crypto, they transfer it, they get it collateralized, and we'll give them cash. I'm like, how long does it take to get this funding? He's like, if you're sitting in front of a computer and you transfer the Bitcoin, we'll wire you the funds within 24 hours. Like that day.
Yeah.
That day.
And the first closing that we did when we received the first, when we did the wallet to wallet, I received that like on 10 p.m. on a Saturday.
Wow.
So there's no banking hours.
Wow.
And I sent the email, received.
Yeah.
I'm now going to transfer it. So we don't rely on banking hours, bank holidays, etc. There's no, the fraud with sending crypto is very small compared to wire fraud, check fraud, etc.
Because most importantly, they're a U.S. company. Because I've heard of company or like foreign banks kind of doing something similar. But at the end of the day, are they reputable? Here with Milo, it's a U.S. bank or a U.S. company, and they're here in Miami. And another thing that I wanted to hit on about Milo is that, let me clarify something, that there's two different types of crypto loans, essentially what they're giving. One's a mortgage and one's financing.
Right.
So with the crypto financing, they're essentially providing you financing for the deposits.
Yep.
And then once the building's done, once it's completed, once you could touch the building essentially, because like you mentioned, now they could put a lien on the property.
Exactly.
They provide crypto mortgage, where the interest rate's lower. So you can use your crypto. And the first type, the crypto financing, is 50%.
Yep.
So if you transfer $2 million in crypto, they'll give you $1 million in cash. You could then use that for deposits.
Yeah.
And that segues into another question I have. What is the deposit structure here?
Yeah. So the full thing is 40%. 40% deposits. We take 20% at contract, 10% sometime later. I'm forgetting exactly what it is, and then another 10%. So that sometime later could sometimes be 6 months later, and it really depends when we're in construction, at what point, because sometimes it's tied to top off, but we could be past top off.
Okay.
So it's two staggered times after you purchase the property.
And you mentioned 22 to 24 month completion.
24 months construction schedule.
So you're looking to deliver by the end of 2027.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. And listen, getting financing these days is not easy. So having secured such a big and important loan with such a important, credible lender, I think gives us a lot of credibility. It's a big, speaking point to the building, to the team, to the project, because we're already 40% sold plus, higher than that. It's proven. We're selling. Pricing, I think, starts in the 600,000s, goes all the way up to the high 2 millions. So we have a range of sizes.
So 600,000 would get you
a studio.
Obviously a studio around what square footage?
Yeah. And these are 400 to 500 square foot studios. And I'm not sure if we have any left now that I think about it. Jake, our sales manager, will tell me.
I feel with every project, it's always like the lowest prices and the penthouses that sell the fastest.
Yeah.
It's always like
But we have also, so we have studios 1, 2s, and 3s, but we also have the lockout, which is great because it's basically 2 units. It's one large unit that you can lock out a portion of it and keep for yourself or rent that part, right? Because it has 2 separate doors into the corridor. So it's a proper lockout, and that one's been very popular.
So you have 3 options. You could either rent both out, keep one and rent the other one out.
Exactly.
Or just live in the whole thing.
Exactly.
That's great. That's what's really key about this project is the flexibility.
100%, and that's what we wanted. We wanted, listen, the freedom vibe that goes associated with the movies you write with rock and roll and all that. We really wanted to have that be the soul of the project.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Diego. It's been such a great pleasure having you on here.
No, it's my pleasure. Yeah.
And that's a wrap. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. Thank you.
Well, that's all for today. So you just heard from Diego and I why the Rider is one of the most exciting developments, not only in Wynwood, but in all of Miami. It's such a different, unique product. So if you're interested in purchasing, contact me, Lucas Lechuga, at lucas@miamicondoinvestments.com, or you can call me on my cell phone at 786-247-6332. But before you go, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below.